Morning, everyone. Our focus continues to be on the people's priorities, which means more jobs and higher wages. Our economy has certainly shown some signs of progress, but most families aren't seeing this improvement in their day-to-day lives. That's why we've already passed bills to build the Keystone Pipeline, which would create, according to the State Department, up to 42,000 jobs, expand natural gas exports, which would create 45,000 new jobs, help small businesses hire more veterans, and restore the 40-hour work week to help get people working full-time again. And while Republicans continue to focus squarely on jobs and the economy, the Democrats are dragging their feet. When Secretary Kerry was sworn in, he guaranteed, and he used that word guaranteed, a fair, transparent, and accountable review of the Keystone Pipeline. But now the State Department is stonewalling and refusing to answer basic questions about its review. I'm calling on Secretary Kerry to address this issue and immediately deliver the transparency and accountability that he promised the American people. The Keystone Pipeline is going to mean tens of thousands of American jobs, and it'll be soon put this bipartisan bill approving this project on the president's desk. He should reconsider his veto and sign this jobs bill. The American people want to fund the Homeland Security Agency, but they also want to stop the president's unilateral actions with regard to immigration. And that's exactly what the House-passed bill would do. Several times this week, Senate Democrats, including senators who claim that they opposed the president's executive actions, have voted to block debate on this bill. I think it's real simple. Republicans are standing with the people, while Democrats are protecting the president. And I don't think the American people are going to forget these votes. Finally, on a happier note, a bit of good news. On September 24th, His Holiness, Pope Francis, will visit us here at the United States Capitol. That day, His Holiness will be the first pope in our history to address a joint session of Congress. We're humbled that the Holy Father has accepted our invitation and certainly look forward to receiving his message on behalf of the American people.
Mr. Speaker, is there an update on the selection process for Mr. Elmendorf's replacement as CEO?
No, I think they're still having discussions and interviews, but I'm not. I think those discussions are still underway, but hadn't gotten to my level yet.
Mr. Speaker, do you think the administration should expedite getting the Jordanians the equipment they've asked for to take the fight to ISIS following the brutal murder of the pilot?
Jordan is one of our staunchest allies in the region. There's an awful lot of things that are already in the pipeline, but speeding that process up through the bureaucracy would certainly help the Jordanians in a time of significant need. And I think, frankly, all of Congress is supportive of this.
Mr. Speaker, Senator McCain said yesterday that the voting for the same bill is the definition, or he asked a question, he said, isn't that the definition of insanity, to vote for the same bill over and over? Do you believe that Senate Democrats should be called out for, or do you believe that they're trying to shut the government down, first of all? And second of all, what should Senator McConnell do after this third try this morning?
Well, I'm the Speaker of the House, not of the Senate. So I'm not going to suggest what the Senate should or shouldn't do. All I'll say is this. The House did its work. We won this fight. Now it's time for Senate Republicans and Senate Democrats to come together and to hold the president accountable. How about all those Democrat senators who made comments in opposition to the president's overreach with regard to executive action, continuing to vote to block debate? They're not even talking about amendments on the bill. They don't even allow a debate to occur. And it's time for them to get their act together.
Speaker Boehner, Nancy Pelosi just told us regarding an AUMF, she'd like to see something about scope, whether or not they're boots on the ground, time, a repeal of the 2002 Iraq one, keeping the 9/11 one in place. What would you like to see from an AUMF in light of what's happening with ISIS now?
Well, I clearly believe that, and I have always believed, that when it comes to fighting a war, the Congress should not tie the president's hands. Now, I'm expecting that there will be an authorization of the use of military force sent up here in the coming days. And we're going to go through a rigorous set of hearings and continue to discuss this. It's also going to be incumbent upon the president to go out there and make the case to the American people for why we have to fight this fight. And his actions are going to be an important part of trying to for us to get the votes to actually pass an authorization. This is not going to be an easy lift.
So you're saying the White House is going to send you this ISIS AUMF in a matter of days? Is that your understanding?
I believe that, yes.
Wow.
Given the fallout of the last few weeks, was the invitation to Prime Minister Netanyahu still a good idea? Have you spoken to the ambassador or anybody?
It was a very good idea. And there's a message that the American people need to hear, and I think he's the perfect person to deliver it. The threat of radical Islamic terrorists is a real threat. The threat of Iran to the region and the rest of the world is a real threat. And I believe that the American people are interested in hearing the truth about what's happening in that part of the world.
Mr. Speaker, last month, the U.S. Supreme Court agreed to take up the issue of same-sex marriage. One of these cases is from your own state of Ohio. What do you hope is the outcome of this litigation, and do you anticipate how House politicians will weigh in some legal capacity?
I don't expect that we're going to weigh in on this, and the court will make its decision, and that's why they're there, to be the highest court in the land.
There's been some talk today about Senators Burr and Hatch working with Chairman Upton on an ACA replacement. I'm wondering, how does that interact with the working group that you guys announced over here earlier with Ryan, Klein, and Upton? And would those recommendations be what would be possibly reconciliation instructions from you guys' side?
Well, let's drop the issue of reconciliation because there's no decisions been made about whether we have reconciliation or if we do have it, what we would use it for. But I do believe that Senators Burr and Hatch have worked on this issue before. Clearly, our three chairmen have an awful lot of work to do to come up with our replacement. But I would expect all of this to be part of the discussion, all of it.
So the separate, what Burr and Hatch and Upton have come up with, are separate from what the working group is working on?
Well, listen, there's a lot of ideas out there. The key is going to be to boil those concepts down to what a real replacement would look like.
Do you have any idea what McConnell's end game is on DHS? I know you're not suggesting anything, but are you clear on what he's doing?
No. Listen, he's got a tough job. He's got a tough job over there. You know, I've got a tough job over here. God bless him and good luck.
So, to that
What can
end,
you say?
well, to that end, is there a practical message that's being received over here by these repeated sort of demonstration votes that's going on? I mean, is the message that
Senator McConnell is trying to win the fight that we won in the
it's
House.
clear it's not going to happen. So is there, even if it's Democratic hypocrisy, it's not going to happen over there. Is there a practical message being taken over here about DHS?
I'll say it one more time. The House fought this fight. We won this fight. Now it's time for Senate Democrats to work with Senate Republicans to stop the president's unilateral actions with regard to immigration.
And what's next? I mean, they're
Not-
voting on it right now. It's not going to happen.
Why you're asking me? Well, you should be asking Senate Democrats why they continue to block the consideration of the bill. Thanks, everybody.
Here's a birthday song for